Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to start talking to the camera. Whew. Hi. Happy New Year. Today's February 1st. January sort of disappeared. I had a very strange month. Um, I've mentioned briefly before that I have to manage chronic illness, and I had multiple flare ups over the course of January, so I spent far more time in bed than I usually do, so I feel a bit rusty. And yeah, so the only thing I've been able to do mostly these last 6 weeks is knit in bed. So I don't have any sewing finished things to share with you today, though I did finish a couple early January before my stamina was suddenly sapped. I managed to finish the turnip dress and the brown linen dress, which I will talk about next time when I talk about sewing. It also means that I didn't do my year-end roundup like I wanted to. And so instead of taking all the clothes that I made last year and then trying them all on, which it sounded fun when I had energy, but now that I don't, it sounds terrible. It's a terrible idea, and I don't want to do that. So I decided that in front of the next sewing video that I do, I'm going to do a little. I took clips. I took little videos of a lot of my outfits last year, so I'm going to do a little montage that features my new garments from last year, and I'm going to put that at the beginning of my next sewing themed video. So that's my plan. I also just realized that I forgot to bring one of my knitted projects out with me, so I'm going to have to insert a little video there. Oh, anyway, thank you for clicking on this video, even though it's been 4 weeks after I said I was going to have another video for you. I need to not make plans. Well, that's not true. I need to not give my plans a timeline. I think that's better going forward, because then I just set myself up for disappointment and aggravation. So I just need to ride the waves of my life and see where I go. Right. So, okay. All of that said, I'm not good at this. I am not a regular YouTuber. I forgot to tell you who I am. So let's start at the beginning. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Joelle. This is Tall Hobbit Stitches, and this is the place where I record my thoughts and progress on all of my various crafty pursuits. I sew, I knit, I spin a little, and in warm months, I play outside with plants. So thank you for joining me today, and yeah, I'm going to talk to you about knitting today. The first thing I want to talk about today for knitting is a finished object, an actual finished pair of mittens. The mittens. If you've watched this video diary thingy for the last couple of years, I cast these on, I think it was early 2021, maybe. I think it was, I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, I think I cast these on early 2021, and they just sort of stalled out. They were supposed to be part of my Make 9 that year, but I'm pleased with them in themselves, but I'm so glad to finally have them done. There was nothing wrong with the pattern. It was more that life stress got in the way, and I stopped being able to manage color work. Um, I found it frustrating I couldn't read the pattern, the chart, which is normally when my brain is functioning properly. Um, it isn't a problem for me. I can follow color work charts just fine, but after I finished the first mitten, life and death, actually, life and death got in the way and melted my brain to the point where I couldn't focus on it. So finishing these mittens is like a reclaiming of part of my brain and ability that I had lost for a couple of years. So I'm trying not to get emotional about it. It's people say, oh, it's just crafts, it's just knitting, it's just sewing. But when it's such a large part of how you spend your time, you're knitting and you're sewing amongst the little, when you knit and you sew and you work on your crafts that you love in the little pockets of time throughout your regular life, so they can't not be affected by the things that happen in your life. Not to get too philosophical about it, but it makes sense that we would have emotions regarding our objects that we make, because they are part of our lives. They're things that we make, and we being humans, that's just how it goes. So it might not be everybody's experience, but it definitely is mine. So I feel very grateful to have finished these. And so the pattern, now that was the philosophical part. I'll talk about the technical aspects of it. The pattern is the Julebukk mittens by Skeindeer, and I'm going to show you a little close-up video of them so that I can talk about some of the details. And yes, I am going to talk about some of my mistakes, not because I want to be mean to myself or anything, but the mistakes are part of my process making them, and this is where I document that process. So I don't feel bad about the mistakes, and I'm not going to correct them. Even though these are a gift for a friend, I think they're going to be functional enough for her, and she's already seen a photo of them, so I know she thinks they're pretty. So anyway, let me show you close up. Right, here they are. I'm just going to tip them up a little. They have this beautiful scalloped and sort of lace cuff. They have a folded over cuff, which was really fiddly. It was the first time I had ever done it, but I love the way it looked. It was only fiddly because I'd never done anything like that before. I have since done it on other projects and like it. There's the deer motif. And then the palm has the 8-pointed star, or 8-leaf rose, I think that's what it's called. So the making of these was a bit of an adventure. I made this one first, and you can see already the difference between the two. This one doesn't have an eye, and so I decided that this one is either closing his eyes or sleeping in the snow. And this one, I don't know what I did with the chart by his tail, but it sort of, it looks like he has two tails and sort of merges with one of the snowflakes. Right, so that's just some of my colorwork mistakes. I'm sure there are other little colorwork mistakes that that I didn't notice as I was going through. The main difference is this one is a tiny bit stretchier across the hand than this one, because there was about 1.5 years, I think, or 2 years. Actually, yeah, 1 3/4 years between this one and this one. So I knit this one all in one go in late winter, early spring of 2021. And then I stalled out, as I said. And then I cast this one on, I don't remember when. I think I may have actually done the cuff not that long after finishing this one. And then stalled about here for most of 1 year. And then I picked it up last fall and knit to about here. And then realized I hadn't left room for the thumb. And so I ripped it back to the end of the thumb gusset. And in doing so, I didn't reread the written instructions, and I didn't realize that you were supposed to, after you did finish the increases for the thumb, you were supposed to knit for a few more plain rounds before you inserted the thumb. So this one I did correctly, and the colorwork chart matches up. But on this one, I inserted the thumb right at the end of the increases, and so my colorwork chart didn't, the colorwork that I had done didn't match the chart for the thumb. And I had finished, I left the gap for the thumb that the second time trying to make this mitten. I knit all the way through the end, cast off, wove in my my ends, and I was ready to pick up and knit the thumb. And I realized that it was a few rows too low. And I was not about to undo all of the work because the gauge of this one is slightly bigger. There was a little bit more room through here. It's not a ton of extra looseness, but it's just enough that I don't think when you wear them there's going to be much difference in the feel. I can't try them on very well because my hands are a lot bigger than the recipients, and I didn't want to stretch them out, especially since this one is a little bit looser. Anyway, so I had to remake the chart, fudge it a lot so it would have the same look, and so it would kind of match up there a little better. And I just fudged the end to kind of get it to end in a sort of diamond shape at the top. So, yeah, that was my adventure making the Julebukk mittens from Skeindeer. And I love her patterns, and I am going to knit more. And let's hope my brain and life cooperate with me. Next, I want to talk about my leggings. I think last time I had all of one leg and most of another one done, I think. These are the... Hold on, I just put the book on the floor. Okay. The leggings pattern is from Elizabeth Zimmermann's collected newsletters, The Opinionated Knitter. There's child size ones, baby size ones, and adult size ones. So, like with most Elizabeth Zimmermann patterns, you knit your gauge and then you do your math based on that, and you knit your swatch, do your math, and then you can cast on. So you can use whatever yarn you want, whatever size needles you want to make the fabric that you like. So, like a lot of her patterns, they're not always complete in the fine details, so you can manipulate them for your own self. So I ended up doing a lot of short rows across the bum, and I knit a gusset between the legs. I actually should have made the gusset a little bit wider because I think the instructions say you knit the legs and then you leave, you put the middle stitches on waste yarn and then you join in the round. But I think what I should have done is cast on some extra stitches in between front and back before I joined the legs in the round to go for the hips. I didn't do that. I think my gusset's big enough that it doesn't make that much of a difference, but there is a little bit of pulling across the low hip, and I think that would have been alleviated if I had cast on some extra stitches. Anyway, that said, I'm pretty happy with the way they're coming out. They're kind of funny because they're shaped like my actual legs, so not like commercial leggings, which is just sort of fabric tubes. These are fabric tubes, but they're kind of lumpy fabric tubes. So the back here I've increased for the what's that? Oh, my yarn has gone down my leg. That's funny. So yeah, you do some increases over the calf, and then you do increases on the inner thigh. And then for me, once I joined up in the round, I increased on each side here to give a little bit of extra width in the back, and then I knit a bunch of short rows so that would be extra height in the back too. And then I was a little overzealous and knit entirely too many short rounds. So the back, when I tried them on this morning, the back was way up here and the front was still not even at my belly button yet. So I had to rip out a bunch and then start over again. So I think I'm going to be doing plain knitting. You can see there on the angle there. That's the. I already had enough short rows, but I ended up doing this many. So I ripped out, and the next two colors I'm going to do this sort of rusty red color and then black. And I think once I do that, I have enough black that I can do a fold over waistband. I'm going to do just like how I did on my knitted petticoat, the fold over waistband. And I may or may not put elastic in. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna have to try them on and see how they fit with all the rest of my layers. But I am feeling pretty happy about this. I am glad I used this brighter blue up top because I didn't realize that I wasn't choosing very vibrant colors from my scrap bag, except for the one that hits right at my knee. So I have these bright aqua knees, and the rest are very subdued, kind of. For me, this is subdued. Yeah, so I am really happy with these leggings, and I think they're going to be very warm. Yeah, and I think they'll go nicely under all my layers. Sorry about that. I had to start that section over again. I think I mentioned the yarn that I used last time when I talked about these. I don't need to keep holding them up. It's leftovers from the hats that I made for my family in Christmas of 2021. I used Swish Superwash from Knit Picks, held double to make a bulky yarn to make the they're just like watch caps with a ribbed brim and decreases. Very simple. And I had a little bit of each of the two skeins left over of every color, so I just knit the leftovers of each color and knit them in tandem all the way up. I wish I had knit only half of each color for each of the legs and then alternated a little bit more, because I don't really like how the stripes on the lower leg are so much longer than the stripes here. I wish I had done them a little bit more this size, and I thought it wasn't going to bother me. I thought I would just knit until the yarn ran out, and I knew that the stripes would be longer in the lower legs than in the upper legs, but I didn't think it would annoy me. It kind of annoys me, but I'm not redoing it, obviously. So I'm just leaving it, and I'm learning to love it. Yeah, despite my bright aqua knees, I think that actually is going to make me smile once I actually start wearing it. So I'm pretty close. I'm going to knit the rest of this red, like I said, and then black, and then that'll be the waistband time. And then they'll be done. I have a bunch of ends to weave in, but then I'll have some leggings. Yay! So this isn't almost done. I have one more project that is so close to completion that I forgot to bring out with me. So I'm going to talk about it, and then I'm going to insert a little video later, because we're having our bathroom remodeled, and the guy who's laying down the tile is in there right now, and Jesse is sequestered in the bedroom with the cats. He's working from home today, so he's keeping the cats company, and I don't feel like going in there and getting in people's way. Also, it's just do you watch Rachel Maxey? She's having work done in her house and barn and everything, and she had a video the other day, and she was like, the builders, if they saw her, she was like hiding from them, and I absolutely have done that, and I don't know why. They're nice guys when I talk to them, but for some reason I don't want them to know I exist today. So yeah, so I'm not going in the house right now while the tile guys are here to get that project. But I am going to talk about it, and I'm going to insert a little video about it. This is the rainbow sock that I showed last time, the one that was in progress. I have it here just on some waste yarn. And then the heel in the back. They always look so funny when they're not blocked. Funny little heel flap. Yeah, so this, I did some shaping on this one. This is 60 stitches wide, or 60 stitches around. I used size 2mm needles, and so I did 60 stitches until about midway through the foot. Then I increased to 64, and then I did 64 stitches through the heel. and then decreased again for, I think, 2 or 3 stripes, back down to 60, so it was a little more snug around the ankle, and then increased to 64, and then increased to 68. And that I tried on, and it is a really good foot. As you can see, I have very long feet. I'm a size 11 US and 43 European, so I need really long socks. So once they're actually on, they don't look as absurdly long on me as they do off. And then on this one, this was the one that I had made entirely too tight. It was super snug from here up. I had it really, really tight gauge. So I ripped it all back. I had it all the way done, with the exception of the cuff, and I ripped it all the way back to here, just before the heel, and I increased again, did the same increase pattern, obviously, and then I put this really long ribbed cuff. This is the Stroll Tonal in Orbit, and you can see it has this kind of swirly stripe once it's done at this gauge. And I just did a regular 2x2 rib. It's pretty stretchy. And then I did the a yarn over bind off in pattern, and I think the yarn over bind off is often called, let me see if I can remember, Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. And it is surprisingly stretchy. I prefer to call it yarn over bind off because that is a lot easier to remember. But that's the pattern. Jenny's surprisingly stretchy, etc. There we go. Rainbow knee socks. I'm excited. So once I get this cuff done, they will be done. This is the yarn that I was waiting for that has arrived. It is it's Stroll Tonal in the Orbit colorway, which is the blue that I was using on the top of those rainbow socks. It has arrived, and it arrived just today actually, and I'm going to use it to knit the cuff of the last of the rainbow socks, and then that pair will be completely done. I will show you the yarn up close. Let's see, can you see that? I'm probably in the shadows. I mean, making a shadow. All right, is it working? Okay, I'm gonna check the video to see if that worked. Yeah, not a YouTuber. So anyway, I have this to finish the cuff, and then I will have another pair of socks for my sock drawer. I'm very excited. And ow, these are sharp. I just flicked myself in the head with a sock tag, yarn tag. Oh my gosh, yarn tag. They're sharp, and it was stressful apparently. Yeah, so the next up for socks, I have planned to do these 3 in a plain stockinette sock. These are 100 grams each. This is more Stroll Tonal. This is Heartfelt, Train Station, and Poppy Field. And I'm gonna knit them toe up, short row heel, just like how I've been doing. I like the way those are going. I can do them fairly quickly and straightforwardly. I do have plans for colorwork socks. Do I want to talk about those today? Not yet. I've decided not yet. I have I don't know how to make top down socks with like a heel flap and gusset and all of that, so I want to learn how to do those, but I also need socks in my drawer quickly. All of my ready to wear socks are all getting very, very thin in the heel, and they're not very I can darn them, and I have darned a lot of my commercially made socks, but they're, you know, I don't have anything fine enough to darn them with, and I can feel the lumps of the darning on the bottom of my heels and in the back of my heels and just where all the thin areas are. So many of my socks are about to just completely wear out. So I need fairly quickly, and I could just buy new socks. Of course I can. But I really want to fill my sock drawer with hand knit socks. That's where I was trying to go with all of this, but I'm just not focused right now because I can hear the builders out in the driveway and I'm distracted. So I bought these 3 colors just to give myself some plain socks to get started with, and then I want to learn the cuff down heel flap gusset style sock construction, and I'm going to use Earthtones Girls No Fear Shorty sock tutorial. I have the pattern already. I just need to watch the tutorial and just make it. I don't know. I'm not afraid of it. It's just, you know, I like doing things that I already know how to do. So I'm going to do that. And then, okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I am. I'm obviously talking about it. So I'm going to do the shorty sock. And I don't know what color yet. I haven't bought yarn for that. And then I'm going to make, I have Stone Knits Colorwork sock book. I think it's called 25 Charming Socks, something like that. And I have a bunch of her individual patterns, so I'm going to switch into Colorwork sock mode once I get these in finished, you know. So this is like a years long project. I'm very slow at making things, but I hope by the end of the springtime I will have 3 new pairs of plain socks. Yeah, and then over the summer I can switch to my summer knitting, which will be colorwork socks. That's my, remember how I said I wasn't going to do a timeline with my plans? Forget anything I said about timeline and just focus on the project plans. So whew. Okay, you know, I think that's enough for today. Yeah. I think that's all I have in me for today. I kind of went a little off the rails at the end there. I think I've reached my stamina for the day. The end of my stamina. And I don't really know what I'm saying anymore. So thank you for spending a few minutes with me today while I talk about my mittens and my leggings and my socks. Next time I'm going to talk about sewing, and I might have brief knitting updates. I'll definitely talk about the leggings and the socks if I finish them before I want to talk about my sewing next time. So I hope you're having a lovely start to your 2023. Yeah, all good things to you. Thank you for spending time with me today, and yeah, bye for now. Hello, it's now March 6th. So here's a little addendum to the video. I had a very fatigue-filled February. My brain didn't work very well. My body didn't work very well. And so I spent even more time in bed, snuggled up with my heating pads and hot water bottle, because that was the only thing giving me comfort. Oh, that and playing Stardew Valley on my phone. So, yeah. I did do a little bit more knitting, and so that's why I'm filming now, and I'm going to add it on to the end of the February video. And then I will try my best to maybe record more often. So we shall see. Body and brain willing, right? Okay, let me show you what I've worked on. Speaking of hot water bottles, I thought since I was spending so much time with mine in bed that I wanted to make a cute cozy for it. So this is leftover Swish Superwash from Knit Picks, all left over from various projects the last several years, primarily from my family's hat project, the same yarn I was using to knit my leggings out of. As you can see, there's still water in here from last night. So anyway, these stripes are just me doing your basic stranded color work. These 3 pattern stripes are from Pacific Knits Valentine's Doodle. I think it's a cowl pattern, but I took the color charts and put them in here. I didn't, however, so the charts for these I think are 12 stitches long, and I didn't do my math right, so I had this gap in the back, and I didn't try to do jogless colorwork joins because my brain wasn't working well. So I also started knitting the half a heart that would have gone here for the joining up, but obviously it wasn't lining up here, so I just duplicate stitched once I realized my error, which was like 3 rows in. Like I said, I had fatigue brain. So I just duplicate stitched over this. I also tried to put in a different design here, and I fudged that, so it's like mistake from me, not doing math right, and then me trying to fill in, and then the duplicate stitch over top when I finally just gave up and said, no, all of that looks ugly. So that's the back. Yeah, and then I did some decreases up here, and then a ribbed, because I wanted it to fold over, because that's the spigot, not spigot, spout. Anyway, yeah, that's my hot water bottle. Yay. And a leggings update. This is the interior. I have woven in all my ends. I usually just do, I guess it's considered duplicate stitch on garter to weave in my ends. Some of them I actually did a weaving in as I go, and I don't think I did it right because some of them are showing through on the other side, which is, it's whatever. Those are going to be hidden under my clothes anyway. So for the waistband, I knit several more rows. Oops, I just hit the camera. Sorry about that. So I've knit several more rows. I think I was up to about here when I last spoke about this. So I knit about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches more. And now I'm tangled. Okay, that stitch needs to stay on there. So now I'm doing, I'm folding it over, picking up this, I know it's so hard to see this black yarn, let me get some light on it. So I'm folding over the top, I'm knitting the one stitch together with a stitch from here, from lower down. And so I'm simultaneously knitting those together, and then I'm doing a yarn over bind off. So that's why I'm getting this this row of loops here. That's the yarn over bind off there, which is also called Jenny's surprisingly stretchy something or another. Yeah, it's a very popular bind off, but I call it the yarn over bind off because I can never remember the full name. So to help me, because it is black yarn and I'm working on this mostly from bed, which doesn't have the best lighting, I'm using this red yarn to pick up the stitches that I'm supposed to knit together from when I fold it over. So that's helping me. And then as I bind them off, I'm just pulling the yarn back out. So that is how I'm doing that. And then I'm going to knit, I'm going to do a knitted cord, and probably a 3-stitch knitted cord, and that will be my drawstring. Yeah, and then the leggings will be done because I've already woven in all the ends. I wove in the ends because I was putting off doing the waistband because I hadn't quite figured out what I wanted to do. So now once I finish the waistband, these will be completely done, and then I can wear them just in time for spring to start. But I live in New England, so it'll be plenty cold enough for wool leggings. An update on my rainbow socks, my knee socks. I've gotten about half of the, yeah, about half, maybe a little less than half of the cuff done. So this is the yarn. It is it's the Stroll tonal in orbit, but it's been a month since I've talked about it, but you probably just saw me talk about it a few minutes ago. Okay, right. There we go. I like how these stripes are coming out. Righty. Okay, so that's the rainbow sock update. Scooch, scooch. I also started a new sock because why finish one sock when you can start another one? This is my needle holder. So it's a top-down sock. It's my first top-down sock. I'm using Denise Earthtones Girls No Fear Shorty sock pattern. So it's my first heel flap and gusset. And I found her pattern instructions are very straightforward. I did have to look at the tutorial that she provides to figure out how to, you know, what exactly to do with my needles to pick up the stitches along the side of the flap. I've never really understood that before, so she has a lot of really good tips and tricks in her video. Very thorough, and I greatly appreciate that. So thanks, Denise. This is the yarn I'm using is Stroll Tweed, in, what does it say? Atlantis Heather. So that is the yarn I'm using. Yeah, I originally bought this yarn for some textured socks, but I didn't like the way the tweed was interfering with seeing the texture of the sock. So I thought it was much better as a plain sock, and I'm using it to do my first top down. And I actually am really liking it. I'm not sure if I'll like the fit better or not from the toe up with the short row heels. Okay, I think that is everything that I have to talk about today. And I just now realized that I still have my headphones on from when I was listening to podcasts earlier today. So that's exciting. So please enjoy this lovely, fashionable look at my headphones. And yeah, I will hopefully have a sewing update the next time I come on here. And let's hope it is also in March. We shall see. Take care, everyone, and bye for now.